Hi there, this is Ryan Dotson with SurvivalSullivan.com. Today we're going to talk a little bit about orienteering and working with maps and compasses. This is a skill that, with the advent of GPS, has become more and more rare. It's hard to find people that know how to use a map and know how to use a compass properly. And so I really like to focus on this because your GPS isn't always going to be there for you. You're not always going to have a signal. You're not always going to have power on your battery. So being able to navigate with things other than your GPS are very important. I had a job that I worked at for 8 years in the lawn and landscape industry. And part of our job was to navigate efficiently through residential neighborhoods. And I can tell you that most of my employees, with maybe one or two exceptions, if their GPS died, they were done for the day. They didn't know how to use a paper map. And so this becomes that much more important when you realize how many people rely on that GPS that isn't always going to be there for them. So we're going to start by talking about the map itself. Now, in my opinion, the best maps to use are topographical maps if you're going to be in the wilderness so that you can see the elevation, you can see peaks and valleys, and that helps you navigate. But even a simple road map can give you basic landmarks. Most road maps are going to have bodies of water on there, and they're going to have roads. And in a lot of cases, that's enough for you to get your bearings. For today's exercises, I'm horrible at drawing, but I drew just a basic map of our property here so that you can see kind of how this works. This area here is our pond. Over here you've got our garden. This is the house right here with the driveway coming out to the edge of the property, and then all of these lined out areas are wooded areas that have grown up into brush trees. You can see down here we've got the legend, and this is how it's oriented: north, south, east, and west, with north being at the top here. So we'll use that for our navigation purposes. Now, I like to have several different compasses on me at any given time. You never know when you're going to lose a piece of gear or it's going to break on you. So just to show you some of the different options, this is the compass that I use most often. It's clear plastic. I've had this since I was probably 8 years old when I was in Boy Scouts. It still has my Boy Scout troop number on it. It's always worked for me. And so this one does allow you to rotate the dial to make adjustments, but I typically keep north straight up and down just for simplicity. It also has some additional tools on here, like a few different rulers with different measurements. It has got a magnifying glass on here, which is great for reading small print, but it's also excellent for starting fires if you have a sunny day. This is the lens I use most often to start fires, and it's got a little lanyard on there so you don't lose it. So this is what I use most often. In addition to that, I've got a survival bracelet here. It's got a whistle on it, it's got a fire starter, it's got a bunch of additional paracord, and then it does have a compass on there, so you can use that for orienteering. This is a card that I actually have in my everyday carry kit that it fits inside my wallet. And this has all kinds of stuff. It's got a knife blade on there. It's got a bottle opener and a can opener, a couple of different screwdrivers, got a fire starter. It's got a magnifying lens, and then it does have a compass on there. So it's very nice to have something like this in your wallet. It's even got an emergency whistle there as well. And then this is my tactical shovel that I use all the time, and it also has multiple purposes, but the primary purpose being to dig with. At the end of the handle, it also has a compass on there, so I can use this for navigation. So you can see there are several different ways that you can always have a compass with you when you're going to be in the wild. Now, as far as how orienteering works, what you want to do, and I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and tilt the camera down so you can see this a little bit better. Okay, so you can see our map a little bit better now, and we've got our compass here. So first thing that we want to do is we want to take the compass, we want to hold it flat. You always have to have it level to the ground, and we're going to line up the red arm with the white dot perfectly straight up and down. Okay, so now that we know that this direction is north, now we have to orient our map using the legend down here. And you can put it right on top there and make sure that everything is lined up. Okay, we've got everything lined up. You've got your north-south line right here on the compass, your north-south line on the map right there. So we can go ahead and remove the compass, and now we know that if I walk out my back door right here, the pond is going to be right there, because that's how the whole map is oriented, okay? So that's the simplest way and the most effective way to use a map and compass, is just to line it up so you know what landmarks are going to be where. You know, if I head east, I'm going to hit our garden. If I head west, I'm going to go out our driveway to the road. So that's just kind of the most basic way to use it. Now, you can use a map and compass without having both pieces. It's a little bit more complicated and it's not quite as effective, but I'll explain kind of how that works, and I'll show you outside in our yard so that you can actually see the landmarks. So we're going to go ahead and move outside real quick. Okay, so first I'm going to show you how to use a map without a compass. So you're looking for landmarks. We got to some high ground here, so you can see there's the pond right there in front of me with where I'm standing. If we come around to this side, you can see I'm right at the back corner of the house. Come around here, there's the garden and the barn. Okay, so we're kind of in the middle of all the landmarks. So we're going to look down at the map. We can see the pond is right in front of us. The house is to our back left. The garden and the barn are to our back right. And based on where the legend shows, since I'm facing the pond, I should be facing due north right now. So that's how you use a map, just using landmarks without having a compass. It's not nearly as exact a science, but it'll give you a general direction if you don't have any other option. Now, as far as using a compass without a map, I'm headed this way, and I'm gonna go ahead and head out into those woods. You can see when you get over here that it's thick enough. I'm not gonna be able to see where I'm going, and I'm gonna need some level of navigation. Okay, so I know based on looking at the compass that I'm gonna be headed away from north. I'm gonna be headed due south, okay? So as I get into that brush, I know that if I decide to turn around and come back the way that I came, even if I can't see my path, that if I go due north, I'm going to end up coming back to where I started. And, you know, when I go hunting, a lot of times that's how I navigate, is I just remember the general cardinal direction that I need to travel to find my way back home or to my vehicle. So, you know, if I were to head out there, I would have a way to get back even though I can't really see where I'm going. Okay, so that should give you just a basic overview of how to use a map and compass for general navigation in the wild. You know, I suggest that you take the time to go outside and practice a little bit. It's not something that comes easily for everybody, and you definitely want to know what you're doing if you have to rely on that. So, again, I am Ryan Dotson with SurvivalSullivan.com. I appreciate you watching. We'll catch you next time. Thanks.